Hello, and welcome to another episode of The Lazy Hypnotherapist. Thank you so much for joining me today. I am so sorry. It has been a couple of weeks, but I swear I have kind of a legitimate excuse, sort of, not really. I've been planning a wedding, as you know, and I, as the type B person that I am, have massively underestimated how much planning goes into that. And not even just the planning, but the mental thoughts about it. You know, it's like you've got like a list in your head all the time of what's going to happen and what you've still got to get and what you've got to put in place, and you know what so and so is wearing as a tie, and it's ridiculous. And let me tell you this, it's the biggest first world privilege problem in the whole entire world, but it is my excuse. I also had my hen's party on the weekend, which was really fun. I had the best time of my life. And again, another privileged first world problem of that took up a bit of my mind space too. So I promise though, today's episode is a good one. It really is, but also it kind of ties into the wedding theme. And the reason for that, today I want to talk about body image. And I want to talk about the impact that it has, but of course how hypnotherapy can help and how that works in with the subconscious mind. The reason that it kind of ties into the wedding and, you know, weddings in general is that once you start planning a wedding, at least what I've begun to notice is that so much of your mind is on the wedding. And you know, wedding dresses, it starts off with the dresses. It starts off then, you know, with, okay, how do I want my hair to look on my wedding day? And what do I want, you know, my makeup to look? And slowly your algorithm through Instagram, TikTok, Pinterest, it all becomes wedding themed. And with the society that we live in, it kind of naturally diverts into looking your best on your wedding day glow up, wedge shred, ugh, gross. But it slowly kind of becomes like this overarching thing within your social media feeds. And it's, as someone who has recovered completely from an eating disorder, truly completely from an eating disorder, and can genuinely, hand on my heart, say, I don't really struggle with body image very much. I will have the occasional bad body image day that's probably linked in with my cycle, where I'm just feeling kind of blah and down on myself. Absolutely, like I think that exists for everyone. But when it comes to like consuming body image, it's not something I struggle with because I've had to struggle with it and overcome it and get to a place where I can, you know, really feel just comfortable within myself. Even as someone who has gotten to that place in her life, it is hard to escape the pressure of looking your best on your wedding day. And what you kind of begin to notice is that these ideas of looking your best on your wedding day have very similar themes across all content. You know, looking shredded, having this clear, glowing skin, you know, being tan and no wrinkles and da-da-da-da. Like it really does have a look. And it's hard to escape the pressure of that. And I can only imagine going into a wedding being someone that is struggling with their body image or is, you know, has never really kind of addressed that. It would be incredibly difficult to not get into a mindset where it is all consuming. Because even as someone who's not necessarily struggles with that, I think about it. I think, oh, I hope I look good on my wedding day. I hope, I feel beautiful and da 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 da. And it is really hard to escape. And that kind of just got me thinking about body image and the consuming nature of it. And obviously I work a lot with eating disorders, and of course body image is always going to come into that. And what I kind of notice within my clients is that, and as well sort of thinking back to my experience with my body image insecurities, the way you feel about your body on any given day directly impacts how you feel, how you approach that day, and how you go about your life. And there's always this idea of, when I have this certain body image, when I look this certain way, then I'll be happy, then I'll be able to live freely, and then I'll be able to relax and be carefree when I have this certain body image, and when I'm able to achieve that, then I'll be happy. And I think that kind of ties into the wedding day as well, because it's like, okay, if I can look my most beautiful on my wedding day, if I can be shredded and whatever it is, then I'll have a good day, then I'll be happy. And I've just been thinking a lot about it, and it makes me really sad, because of course body image is one of the biggest issues troubling not only women, men as well, but I would say largely more women. And I think it's through, of course, so many different things. Social media, the people that we surround ourselves with, comparison, but also, of course, childhoods, and the way that we begin to associate certain meanings to our body and what our body means. And I don't know if you guys can remember or recall, but pretty much every one of my clients has a moment in their childhood where they distinctly remember understanding that your body was something to be criticized. I wonder if you have that memory of when you notice that, oh, a body is something we should be paying attention to and critiquing. I can think of a moment. I absolutely can. And I remember thinking, I didn't know that we spoke about bodies like that, or I didn't know that a body was something that even needed to be spoken about, that even needed to be critiqued. I didn't realize. And of course, it's not that one moment that changes everything and is the cause and the root and the reason for body image down the line. It's not. It's an accumulation. But I think we do all have these kind of mini moments within our lives where bodies became a thing. Because we're not born thinking anything about our bodies. Babies are naked and they couldn't care less. I think of my little nephews. They're so gorgeous, and they are just nude and putting their legs in the air and couldn't give a single crap about a body, because they would never even, they can't even think about that. It's not a thing. And I think that's it's such a beautiful time in a person's life when that's not something that's even a thing. Can you imagine, even for a moment, that your body isn't something that you even think about? It's not a determinant of who you are and anything about you. It's not. And I just think that we start out that way, and then slowly society and life happen to us. And I always kind of think of overcoming these issues as a coming home to ourselves and a remembering of what we were born to be, what we were born as knowing and believing is true and important. And I truly don't think that we were ever born to be identified as our bodies, to be for our lives to be determined by what how we feel about our bodies. You know, I think we're a soul, we're a human being, we're a person, we're, you know, the sum of our values. And of course that's like, you know, living in it seems like that's just living in a utopia where people don't care about their bodies, and that's not something that we judge ourselves on or we judge others on. But it really shouldn't be this, like, you know, fantasy land. It should be how things genuinely are. But I don't believe we'll ever be in that place in society. But I think individually we can all get to a place where we just feel comfortable, content, and accepting of our bodies and of ourselves. And I think we all kind of have to go through these moments where maybe, you know, we don't feel so great in our bodies, because I think unlearning and doing that healing work is an important part of life. And it's almost like, I mean, I don't know, who am I to say, but almost like the purpose of life is to have these struggles and these moments, but to overcome them and to grow as a person through that. You know, I always say, like, with my eating disorder and my struggles with my own body image, whilst it was the worst time in my life, I don't regret it at all. I would do it all again. I wouldn't change a thing about my experience, because it's made me who I am. And so I think if you're listening to this and you are struggling with your body image, I would say to you, if you choose to work through this and you choose to give this your all, you will be able to look back one day and go, I would not change that for the world. I truly believe that is available for everybody. And the way that kind of hypnotherapy and working with a subconscious mind is really, really important when it comes to things like body image, is because our body image is directly linked and correlated to our internal belief systems. It's how we feel and how we believe bodies to be. So what are our beliefs around bodies? And like I said, with these memories that we all kind of can tap into, so often our beliefs about bodies start when we're really, really young. And they can start through a range of different circumstances and environments. It can be from the seemingly smallest thing as comments that your parents made about bodies, or someone in the schoolyard saying something about your body, or something about even someone else's body, and you begin to realize, oh, that's a thing that someone can be judged about. Or it can be big things like trauma and really big life events can impact something like body image. But through these moments in our lives, and through just kind of witnessing the world around us, through society, you know, celebrities, social media, even as someone that, you know, didn't grow up with social media until I was a teenager, you know, we take in people on TV shows and magazines, and wow, that's the standard of beauty, and everyone thinks this person is the most beautiful person. And it's not the beauty that we're after, it's the love and attention that we think that person is getting. And we begin to develop all of these beliefs around bodies. And like I said at the start, body image really never has anything to do with a body, just like an eating disorder never has really anything to do with food. It's the meanings that we attach to these things. So if we're kind of just like to look at it sort of, logically, we don't care about having the clearest skin in the world. We don't care about having the most toned, shredded body. We don't care about that. We care about what we think that means. We think, and what we think that means is based on the beliefs that we individually developed. So for a lot of people, that having the clear skin and the shredded body, or whatever the beauty standard is where you come from, it can mean, well, that means that I'll get love. That means that I won't be alone. That means that I'll get attention. That means that I can fill this void that I feel within myself. That's going to fill it, which is why we so often have these ideas in our heads that when we get to this place, when we get to this body type, when we get to this beauty standard, then we'll be happy because we'll achieve love, we'll achieve attention. And what we of course know is that of course that's not true. You won't suddenly have the even if you did have the perfect standard of beauty in your society and where you come from, it's not going to give you happiness. It's not going to automatically give you everything that you thought it would, but it's kind of it's the goal of that I think keeps us pushing towards these beauty standards and being so critical of ourselves as a coping mechanism to get to the place where we can have all this love and we can have all this affection, which of course comes back to our inner survival beings that, way back in the day, if we were attractive to others, then, we would have a tribe. We would be protected, we would procreate, and it's a means of survival. And whilst we like to think that we are very evolved and very advanced, which of course in so many ways we are, at the end of the day, all we really want is to belong to a tribe, to have someone or others that love us and give us attention that will help us survive. It's crazy that body image and survival go hand in hand, but so many of these things that trouble us do, because it's what we will do and what our minds will tell us we need to do and be consumed with in order to survive, which is where things like eating disorders come in, which is where things like criticism and lack of self-confidence and self-worth come in, because if we can always be critical of ourselves, then we can, a couple of things, we can, keep striving, keep getting better and better and better, because, we're never going to be content, because if we're content, then we might let things slip. Also, if we can be critical of ourselves, then if someone else is, we won't be so hurt and so blindsided and therefore, in danger. So, like I said, whilst we're very advanced, we're also not at the end of the day. All we want to do is belong. And when we work with the subconscious mind and through hypnotherapy, what we're able to do is unpack specifically for you what these beliefs are around your body, where they come from, what they're doing for you, and we can kind of do an audit of your belief systems. And what we can do is we can begin to upgrade and rewire them to actually get you to a place where you feel that being accepting and content within yourself is a coping mechanism that is actually protective, as opposed to the negative body image that is kind of like masking as a coping mechanism that's not really helping you. And a lot of people will then think, oh, well, what if I become accepting of my body and, content, and then I don't pay any attention to myself, I let myself go, right? But actually what we begin to notice is that when you feel, and there's been studies on this, that when you begin to feel better about yourself, you begin to do things that are actually better for you. You begin to take care of your mental health more because you're feeling better about yourself. You begin to move your body more, which we all know is an important thing for our mental health and our physical health. You begin to do things that are better and better for you, but for the right reasons. And through that positive momentum, you begin to feel better and better, and you begin to take care of yourself in a better and better way, in a way that is actually good for you. You begin to do things that you love versus what you think you should do to achieve a certain body. It changes the way you approach your life. It changes the way you approach your body and your mind, and you begin to develop this relationship with yourself where you see yourself as something that is worthy of being taken care of. But the key is that you're doing things for yourself, but the reason behind it is so much different when you accept and are content with yourself. And you'll probably notice that I'm not saying that you love yourself and you think that you're the hottest thing in the world. That would be nice, but I don't think it's achievable. Like, I think for so long, maybe when I first started my business, or when I sort of overcame my eating disorder, I was sort of really on the whole self-love train and like loving your body. And I think I've gotten to a place where actually I don't really care about that. I don't care if you love your body. I don't care if I love my body. I don't care if I love myself or you love yourself. I don't think we have to love ourselves. I think we have to accept ourselves and be comfortable within ourselves and believe that we're worthy and we're enough. If we have all that, I couldn't care less if you love yourself. I think loving yourself is difficult because we are negatively biased human beings. We're always going to kind of like doubt ourselves a bit and have these sort of senses of, always doing better as a means of survival. When I ask myself if I love myself, some days I like myself. I'm proud of myself. I think I'm good enough and I'm a worthy human being. But do I love myself? Sometimes not. And I think that's okay. Do I hate myself? Do I think that I'm an unworthy person? Absolutely not. Do I think that I'm worthy of love? Absolutely. So I think we just need to kind of change the goal from this, like, we need to love ourselves. It's either love yourself or hate yourself, and there's no like in between. It's very hard to go from hating yourself to loving yourself. Like, let's kind of get to a place where actually I don't need to love myself. I just need to think that I'm worthy. And what I always tell my clients is like, the best thing about that is there's nothing you need to do in order to get this worthiness. It's not like, okay, now the goal is worthiness. I need to like go out and try really hard to get worthiness. No, you just need to remember that you already are. It's a remembering. It's not a learning or a gaining or a seeking or a striving. It's just a remembering that you already are, which is pretty freaking cool. But the way that we do that is through understanding ourselves, understanding that actually these body image issues have nothing to do with your body. Nothing. They have nothing to do with your body, and everything to do with the beliefs, the meanings that you have attached to your body, to bodies in general, and to begin to make changes and shifts to the very fabric of those belief systems, because from there, the way we see ourselves, the way we feel in our bodies shifts. So if you are struggling right now with your body image and you're thinking, gosh, I didn't know that there was another way to feel. Like, I thought that we just all struggled with our body image and, that was just kind of a given. It's not. There is so much light at the end of this tunnel. There is so many shifts that you can make to actually feel comfortable and confident in your body, but more than that, in yourself, in who you are. We really begin to notice that when you just feel that sense of like acceptance, it, whilst, maybe it's showing up most towards your body, it's actually towards who you are. So when we begin to make these shifts, the way you feel in yourself as a human being shifts. The way you go about your life, the way you walk into a room, I think we can all think of someone that's like, we just think is like, oh my God, they're so confident, they're so vibrant, they're exuberant. It shines through them, right? And it really doesn't have anything to do with the way they look. It's the way they feel and the way they interact with the world. And that is possible for absolutely everyone. It just takes a bit of unlearning and remembering who you were when you were born into this world. The beliefs that you had around bodies, which was that it is just a vessel for living this life. And what a privilege. I hope you enjoyed this episode. If you are struggling with your body image right now, I'm really sorry. It's not a nice thing to struggle with. But like I said, there is so much hope out there. It's so much light at the end of this tunnel for you. And I'm excited for you, because I always am excited for people that are at the start of a healing journey, because goodness me, there's like so much happiness and growth to happen. If you are struggling, please reach out to me. I would absolutely love to help you. Book in a free discovery call. The link is in the description. I'll also put a link to the Butterfly Foundation if you are really struggling at the moment and in need of urgent care, as well as Lifeline. But yeah, thank you so much for listening. I hope you got something out of this and that you enjoyed it. I certainly enjoyed bringing it to you. And yeah, I will see you on the next episode. All right. Bye.